Hello, product people. Welcome to the Product for Product podcast, hosted by Matt Green, data advocate and product manager, and Masha Mikanovsky, product leader and author. Our goal is to serve the product community by helping you find products that can help make your work in product management easier. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Product for Product podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode, Michelle and I are speaking with Henry Latham. Henry is a founder, author, and product leader. He is also a multiple-time guest on the show. So he's here today to talk about the latest venture he has called Break Free. So let's dive in. How you doing, Henry?
Yeah, good. Was this? I think it's number 3.
Maybe I think so. 4. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, this is number 3.
You have the record right now, so that's good. That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Great to have you back.
Yeah, good. No, excited. Really excited to talk about this. I think this is a topic around like product, looking at a higher level, like directions to take, purpose, all these big topics that I think is skipped over a lot for many product people.
Yeah, that's great. I think the first show we had you on was when you were doing the Prod MBA, and then the second one was with the book, and now you have a new venture. So looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, and the book was about strategy, reminding everyone strategy is simple. So I think that is going to be also pretty relevant to your new clients of your new program. So it's all there is a thread there that goes
synergy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I mean everything is built on the previous experiences, right? And sort of war stories and work I'm doing with clients, like my own learning as well as a product person, as an entrepreneur.
That's it. Yeah. Iterations. Always getting better.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about, how did you get the idea for the new, your new program? And we like to call it a product. It is a product. Everything is a product, right? What made you shift or pivot to do that?
Sure. Yeah. So just a bit of context. So essentially, Break Free is a sprint program I put together where it's really one-on-one coaching to get you from 0 to your first 1 to 3 sales. You can come in with 0 business idea, right, and get through to sales. So during running the beta program right now, literally just done it with 4 students in this format, but already got 2 out of 4 of them to hit revenue within their sprint, which is great. The others, I'm really confident with a few iterations, we'll get there as well. So it's a really high potential here. And it's built upon much of what I did with Prod MBA, and some people who did Prod MBA ended up launching a business. But let's zoom out there and talk about state of product generally, product management, product leadership, product as a career path. So essentially, end of 2023, I had been really 3.5 years doing Prod MBA. So a bootcamp format around helping product managers fast track their path to product leadership. Been going really well, done with 300 students, very hands-on, very, we got you to build a real product rather than just get you to read a book or watch a video about it. But I had felt that there had been a bit of a shift happening in terms of the conversations that I was having. So I would I've had 300 students, but I've spoken to maybe 600 applicants. Those are 45-minute courses, a lot of time coaching people. So let's say, 300 students, I'll do 4 hours coaching each. So over 1,000 hours of speaking to product people on coaching calls, plus then hundreds of hours of sort of conversations about state of their career, challenges they face, etc. And I'd felt that there had been a slow realization that what we read about as products, right? The Marty Kagan, let's read Transformed and Magic Wand, great, everything's awesome, and we're going to do discovery and experiments and all this stuff, and great, and I have an amazing boss. And in my experience, 95% of product people that I was speaking to were going, yeah, it's not like that. It's nothing like that. In fact, we're lucky if we can get a little bit of product discovery on the side or have a little bit of influence on product strategy, if there is a product strategy in the first place, if there is any product discovery in the first place. Most people, again, 95% that I was speaking to were really just glorified project managers. They would read the books about product. They do stuff like Product MBA to get better at product management, but they were really limited in terms of what they could do. And then two things really hit me end of 2023 to say that made me go, I don't feel comfortable continuing in this direction of pushing people down a product path, a product career path. The first was a study that came out, you might have seen this, that said 66% of senior product managers are seeking a new job.
Yeah,
right now.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I've seen that.
necessarily mean new career, but new job. What does that mean? If you're trying to change job, you're dissatisfied with the one you're in, or you've at least like reached your capacity for growth, for example. So look, you can interpret that in all different ways. You could dig into like how the study was done. For me personally, it was a bit of a concrete data point around these things that I've been seeing and feeling and hearing about that said, oh, wow, like people are not happy in this career path. And that, by the way, top of the list of the top 15 jobs that people are planning to quit, right? Number one out of hundreds and hundreds, senior product manager. So that hit me and said, wow, people are just job hopping, unfulfilled in their current role, going unfulfilled in their next role. The second thing was really a personal one where every end of the year, I'll always do a reflection exercise. So I'll review like a journal every morning. I'll review that. What have I been doing? What things have energized me? What have taken energy away from me? Try and do more things that energize me, fewer things that take energy away. And I felt, after 4 years of doing a sort of 3 monthly cycle with boot camps, I was starting to feel a little bit stagnant personally. Business was going really well. As a micro business, I have no employees. I got it down to 4 or 5 hours a day. Was bringing in £250,000, more than enough to cover my costs. Right, I live in Portugal, so I'm not in New York or something crazy with extremely high cost of living. So, yeah, I basically said to myself, okay, so I'm at the point where I'm going into year 4 of this business. If today was day 1, like what would I want to do now? If, ignore that I have a business, everything else, like what would I really want to do now? Trying to ignore the question of money, right? And I said, I really feel that based on the conversations I'm having, based on my personal interest as well and experience, like how am I uniquely placed to add value? It is going to be helping people become entrepreneurs, right? Sharing my own journey over 10 years of doing that, building businesses, joining other businesses. And then with Product MBA really coming with this new model, right? What we call a micro business, which is deliberately keeping it small. It means no employees, usually solo founded, 0 funding, and aim for profitability from very, very early on. So I said, look, I think I'm uniquely placed to do that. And I'm seeing this shift in the market from product people going, oh, it's not like the books. And I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So that's led me now to this new business. But as I said, there is a big trend there. I think a lot of it is influenced by, I think COVID and working from home was a big one. Suddenly people had more time to think about what do they actually want rather than racing around, commuting and then going for drinks after work and, always in this rat race, never pausing. And the second big one was layoffs last year, 2022, 2023, where people go, I might be really good at my job, but my whole department might get laid off and there's nothing that I can do about that. So that security, that false sense of security that, there's always going to be a job for me, was suddenly, the carpet taken out from under people. And that, by the way, was true of people, whether they were fired or not. So even if you didn't lose your job, there's that worry there. And I think the sense that I had in conversations that I want to be in control of my destiny. Actually, Moshe, I always remember something you said on our first podcast around making yourself forever employable.
Yes.
Yeah. And being, doing what you guys are doing, which is to have your day job, but secure your future by diversifying, building network, other revenue streams, for example.
Yeah.
And that's something that's now gone from sort of like somewhere at the bottom of people's to-do list to very near the top. They're seeing that as something they want to take action on relatively urgently.
Yeah, yeah. No, that really resonates with me. Like you said, forever employable,
Hmm.
and it did 2023 was a pivotal changing time in my life as well with my career, where I was laid off from my work the fourth time in my career. But because I already built up my personal branding before that, I was able to find contract and new jobs right away. But I made a decision not to put all my eggs in one basket, but rather, take a
Diversify.
few different, do a few different clients, and this way, not to lose one job at a time again, ever again, right? But it's interesting what you're saying about what you have seen, what you have heard from people about the state of product management. And this is actually quite worrisome, not because I've not heard it before. I've heard it, and even Marty Kagan said it himself.
Yep.
In his he had a post that he wrote, and also a podcast that he was participating in it. I don't remember where exactly, but at the end of 2023 with prediction for 2024 of product management, and he put in there what is the desired and what he fears is going to happen because of the situation out there. And now with the release of Transformed and trying to move companies into the product operating model, there is also a lot of buzz out there about can it really be done or cannot be done, and especially
Yeah.
from the individual contributor side of product management.
Yeah, and actually, just to be crystal clear, like as you say, I go, all these books are a waste of time, but the authors are generally they're like, by the way, it's not like that. This is what we want to aim for, or here's how we can try and get there. So I don't want
Aspirational.
to slag off, to use a very English term, or to criticize where somebody hasn't doesn't deserve it. And I think the other trend, sorry, that drove me towards pivoting on my business was it started to feel like, I don't know if you guys feel this as well. It started to feel like the products consulting and coaching industry was doing what the agile industry had done before that, and still does, but luckily is now pretty irrelevant. But yeah, agile industry basically said, we're going to package some like high level, like create some rules, package it and sell it to you and train all your people, and go like, Moshi, here's an agile certification. Matt, agile certification, great. That equals good at product. Not
Right.
true. Great. We realized that was stupid. Then comes along product coaching, including myself, companies like Product MBA, where we go, we're going to help your product managers get better. And I worry that because we have, we, as putting myself as Product MBA, found it as an industry, these product coaches, consultants, boot camps, we have a huge incentive to go, no, product management's awesome. You just need to get better at discovery, just need to get better at stakeholder management, and then your life's going to be awesome. You're going to have a seat at the table, high salary, autonomy, doing all this cool shit, building cool products. And I felt like I couldn't push what I felt was, I never said to people, by the way, that was never my message. Whenever I had conversations, someone would come to me, Henry, how do I navigate a difficult boss? I said, look, quite honestly, you're probably going to have to just try these things, but they probably won't work. You're not going to transform your organization. So I always try to be realistic. But anyway, I felt like too many people are pushing this message of like, here's how awesome product is, and you just need to learn these things and do my boot camp and hire me as a coach to get there. And it's just, it's not true. It's putting a Band-Aid over, a gaping wound, essentially. It doesn't actually get you to where you want to be, which is ultimately, if we, for everybody, right, we want some sort of fulfillment, some sort of autonomy, some sort of freedom of time, some sort of financial freedom, whatever that might, and that means different things in people, but that's really what we're aiming for. So when people go, I want to move up the product career ladder, really what they're saying is, I believe that by moving up the product career ladder, I'm going to feel more fulfilled. And it's usually the converse, in fact.
Yeah.
Or you're on the wrong ladder.
Yeah, this really resonates. Like you go on X or Twitter and you see people, hey, product management frameworks and all these thought leaders out there in the product space, and they're online all day, like tweeting this stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? Because product management is like really hard. So,
but again, I just think if you think of, Moshe, you got, and sorry, T, you got let go last year. Did all those frameworks, all that time you spent learning frameworks and reading books, like, did that really help you, or was it doing the podcast that actually has helped, secure your future effectively? Or, again, I
Well,
say starting a business on the side
it's
or whatever it
definitely
is.
it's definitely being out there and doing the podcast, but it's also 30 years of experience. It's not
Yeah.
learning on the job and doing. But there is a point there that I do want to maybe hammer on a bit more, because it's a coin that has two sides to it. I see what you're saying about how the thought leaders and people speaking about it kind of glorify it and make maybe promises that are hard to fulfill. But on the other end, it's a very young profession. It's not like other professions from the past, and people are looking for maybe certifications or ways to say, yes, I've learned it, and I can show that I learned it by showing something like a certificate or something like that. And we know that these don't mean anything other than maybe you passed some test or whatever it is. But this is a true thing also for every type of education that is more theoretical and less hands-on and practical.
Hmm.
That we say it about almost every occupation that you learn when you're learning to become a lawyer in a university. Are you a good lawyer when you finish university and start working? You need the experience, right?
Yep.
So I think part of it is letting this profession be more mature and getting the right people for the right reason in these professions. So it's not because of the salary that people goes to it or because it sounds cool, but because they're really passionate about product and about product management. I know that I'm very passionate about it, even with all the failures that I had, right? So if you cannot sustain some failures in it, then probably you're not in it for the right reasons. For
That's
every occupation is like that.
Hmm.
absolutely. You said a really key point there is you are passionate about product management. Right.
Mhm.
So, I've always realized, like, I'm not passionate about product. I teach product, I write about it, I find it super
Mhm.
interesting. I'm passionate about business building and
Mm.
business.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that was a realization I really only had maybe the last year, in fact. I can write eloquently about product. I've got 12 years experience in product, and obviously there's a lot of crossover with business. But when I really think about it, it's about business building. And the coming back to this conversation I had, product is a great career if you really like, for example, I'm introverted. I hate meetings. I like doing a podcast. I'm talking about something I'm passionate about. I hate having a fixed meeting in my calendar with a passion. Right, which so product is not a good
That's
path for
the
me.
PM
Working like
lifestyle.
a big 1,000 person, 5,000 person company, just not a good fit for me, right? And luckily I realized that quite early on. Um, so my point is you need to be clear about what do you really want from your career and by extension your life, right? Because our career drives really everything else.
Mhm.
And many people, many product people are going into product because they want to start there. Those are the conversations I have. And obviously I'm attracting a certain type of person, right? So let's be
Mhm.
clear about that. This is not everybody. But
Mhm.
there is a type of product person who goes, I want to go into product and go up the career because I'm going to get more experience in business and therefore I'm going to be better placed to start my own business at some point.
Mhm.
Now, the problem is that it becomes a bit of a trap because it's very easy. And I wasted really 5 or 6 years doing the same thing where you go, maybe I need to do one more role or maybe 2 more years in product, or yeah, I could learn more about strategy. And what happens, that idea of, starting a business by age 30, whatever it is just push back and push back and push back. And I observe, particularly with senior product people, who are in this bucket, right? This type of person, really an aspiring entrepreneur, that they get trapped because a couple of things. So firstly, what I call hedonistic adaptation, right? So the more we go down the product career path, generally, like the busier we get, the more stress, the more demands on us. So what happens as we get paid more, we start spending more because we want to, and everyone does this to some extent, right? We want to justify it. We want to sort of escape in some way. So what happens is someone on, let's say head of product on 100, 200K is spending 100, 200K to justify, why they're so stressed out and feeling unfulfilled all the time. And obviously it's very hard to then pull back and go, okay, I'm going to leave that job and start my own business because you're outgoing. I spoke to one of my clients this week. He's just joined my new business. His outgoings are 10K a month as a senior PM, $10,000 that is, which is a huge amount of money, unless you've got like 40 kids, then there's no reason to be spending 10K a month is my point. So you get into that trap. And then the second trap I see is that actually the more experienced product person gets, the more excuses we're going to make to not start a business because you've got you guys have a lot of experience, because you've got a lot of strategic experience, business experience. You're going to pick holes in any idea you come up with and find a load of very intelligent and very logical, very rational reasons why it's a shit idea, right? So you end up not doing it, and you end up spending sort of too long going down the product career path, if not forever, in most cases. And I sort of see my job now as pulling people out of that and saying, look, if you really want to start a business, I don't care whether you've got 1 year experience, 10 years experience, whatever experience, you are creating excuses. You're using product as a career as really a conduit to starting your own business rather than just starting your own business. Yeah. You don't need to go and do 10 years, 20 years experience to start your own business.
In what you're thinking about with these micro businesses, we spoke with Jackie Flake, who's a product coach, a very successful one here in Atlanta, Georgia. She has a whole practice around this. And when talking with her, it's just like, get out there and do it. And like, some people are obviously afraid to leave their day job. They are making that 100, 200K. They may have 4 kids. They have this lifestyle built up.
Yeah, and they've got lifestyle. And again, I get it. I get it. I would say,
but from a parallel track perspective, like, could you do like, hey, I might branch 100%. Out and do this micro business on the side?
Yeah, I mean, this is where, the amount of excuse, I think back to the excuses I made to myself, like, well, I need to get investment before starting something. I need to do 2 more years in this company. Oh, I need to, build up more savings. I don't have 10 years experience in this industry, so I can't really go with, this idea related to that industry. And, oh my God, I need to quit my job to start a business. It is just so not true. For example, at Break Free, I deliberately set myself, everything's an experiment. Right? I was very willing to try other ideas if this one didn't work. So I deliberately kept it incredibly lean and simple because I wanted to show students, once I launched the product, that you don't need all this stuff. Okay, so what did I do to launch Break Free? I literally changed my LinkedIn header to, I'm going to help you get from 0 to revenue in 48 hours. I posted 4 to 5 posts over a week on LinkedIn. Now, I've got a bigger audience, so that helps, but you don't need that. You could reach out directly to people. I had a landing page with probably 10 words of text, sign up now button or join the beta, picture of me for a little bit of credibility, show I'm a real person. They then got people that signed up. So I got about 80 people signing up for that. They got 1 email. I didn't bother formatting it, just 1 email saying, look, here's the offer. Book a call if you're interested. Sales call with Calendly. So that's ConvertKit, which is free to start. Calendly, free to start. Got them on a call, asked them questions to understand their needs. They went, okay, great. Well, I can help you with that. Here's the offer. 3, 4 sentences. See if they had any question. Here's the price. Get a deposit. Done. I didn't build anything. I didn't have a website. I was using my Prod MBA email. There was no brand. There was no Break Free. Afterwards, I was like, yeah, maybe Break Free is a good idea for this. 0, nothing. Literally a simple landing page.
This is a great example of an MVP.
Yep.
This is really what MVP is all
The
about.
really key difference, though, was the pre-sale, right? Taking a deposit on the call to go, oh, okay, yeah, people are actually willing to give me money. Because if I could go to you, like, we had a conversation about doing this podcast before I started the business. I went, hey, Matt, Moshe, like, I'm doing this new business idea. You guys probably went, yeah, awesome, Henry, great, like, good luck with it. If I went to you, oh, yeah, please give me, 500 euros as a deposit if you're interested, we'd be having a whole different conversation. You might go, well, like, what exactly am I getting with this 500? You know what I mean? So, so the only validation that is real validation is someone willing to pay you. And coming back to that point, you do not need to leave your job to do what I did. I did the whole thing in probably 6 hours. I'll be a bit faster because I've done this a lot of times now, but man, 4 to 6 hours, that whole thing, plus the sales calls, 30, 45 minutes each. Got a deposit. And then when, okay, great, I've got a month now to make sure that this solution is as amazing as I can make it and it delivers the value. So point is, you don't need to leave your job. You can build this stuff on the side. Almost everything you're talking about now, people are going to be listening and the excuses are going to be coming to them. Oh yeah, but Henry's got an audience on it. Oh, but Henry's done it before. Or no, my idea is more complicated, so I couldn't do it that way. It's all bullshit. It's all excuses. It's fear in the disguise of it.
Yep.
There is another point there, I think, and I'm seeing it actually when I started mentoring startups founders in the past probably 6 months in several accelerators here in Toronto, and I see it's very interesting because most of them, if not all of them, don't have product management experience. They are founders. They do things very, scrappily and very quick. So they have that mindset, from startup perspective and from founding perspective. And what I'm trying to do with them is to give them a bit more structure in product management about the product itself. Now, there is a lot of synergies there between the two things. But what I do realize for me personally throughout this experience is how much we are in product management because of all the processes and because of the discovery and because of all the things that we're preaching to do all the time, how slow we become. And maybe how maybe that's also part of my experience not working always in the right places, like working in feature factories or working in places or whatever it is, whatever the reason for that is that I always preach agility for the purpose of the product, not for the purpose of discovery. So agility doesn't start and stop not for the purpose of delivery. So agility doesn't start and stop at the developers, and the Scrum of the delivery, but it's for the entire process. But you see real agility in many great startups. They're many of them are not. Many of them are trying to build something for a year or two before they release anything. So they do need to understand, that that's not the right way to do that. But many startups do have this scrappiness and creating things very, very quickly. And maybe that is one of those things that happen when you work for big enterprises or big companies on product, and it's only one of those products or a few features of one big product that the company is building, and you kind of lose or don't even have that real agility that someone that started a business have. So there is definitely that balance between the two to strike. So it's really interesting.
That brings up a really key point as well around, I made that point about sometimes product experience can be a negative for starting a business because yes, we understand the importance of agility, but actually what it can mean is we're agile on the wrong things. For example, you could be you could say, look, we're going to build this digital startup. But if your objective as a aspiring founder is really, for example, all the conversations I have with people starting my program or during Product Era, the aspiring entrepreneur category of person, when you actually dig in, another myth they have is, as they think that product career, climbing the product career ladder equals more freedom, they usually think that a startup equals more freedom. And actually, when we look at success rates, it's really under 1% that exit. So if you're going into startup to make money, it's not the best bet to make. Super interesting. My first business was started. It was awesome. Really, really great learning, real roller coaster. And my point is you could have a really good idea. Say, for example, you're an aspiring founder. Say we go, right, as a three, we want to start our own business. But for me personally, my goal as Henry, it's like I want to be able to go surfing on a Tuesday. Like I don't want to be stuck in meetings, or I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't really care. Like as long as I got enough money to go out for some beers with friends and holiday now and again, then pay my rent, then all good. Like I'm happy with that. So we can be really agile within a startup, but actually I think where you see founders that are genuinely fulfilled and sort of on the path that they really want to be is the ones that have taken a step back and say, what kind of business do I actually want to start in the first place? And because that sends you in a very different direction. The kind of frame you're looking at would then be more of a micro business model, like usually avoiding custom code, rather than a startup model where we go, even just building an MVP is going to take months potentially, or getting to the point where we can add enough value where someone's willing to pay us takes a long time, 6 months, a year, maybe, if not longer with a digital product. And with a micro business, we have to aim for profitability very, very early. Now those principles are transferable for a startup, but again, the timelines are just long because you've got more stuff to build. It's a more complex process of building.
True, very true. Yeah, very true.
So I would say, be agile be clear about what you want to be agile in. Is it going to be, the classic mistake is delivery, right? Where we're like, oh, we're going to build stuff really quickly. Is it the right stuff? But even a step back from that is, well, is this the right product for me and what I want personally?
Yeah. So let's tell us a bit about Break Free. What does the program look like? What do people get? Maybe who is the target persona for this, etc. So people that are listening to us will see if this is a good fit for them, and what are they going to get if they approach you for this?
Sure. So essentially what I'm doing with Break Free is anybody can come along. I don't really care about your experience level, but generally we're looking at product people, more senior product people. And we're getting you to go from 0 to revenue within either a 48-hour sprint. So you could go, right, I'm going to take 2 days off, weekend, 2 days during the week, block it off and just run at this thing. Go from no idea, you can have no idea coming into it. And I'm going to be coaching you during 6 hours of live sessions and some videos and some challenges you're going to work on to get real money in your bank account by the end of that sprint. Okay, you can also do it in a 4 to 5 day format, working around your day job as well. So in terms of steps, there's 5 steps. So the first one is overcoming what Stephen Pressfield in the War of Art calls resistance. So it's the foundation of realizing that almost your narrative is all excuses and fears that are going to hold you back and actually self-sabotage. Sounds really fluffy, but we start by doing a fear setting exercise, which is essentially going, right, so you're going to start this new business. Let's outline all the things you're scared about. Losing your job, failing, feeling like a failure, all of these messy, scary things. And then we work through, okay, well, for example, like, what's the work? This is an exercise from Tim Ferriss, by the way. Okay, well, what could we do to fix that? By when? How do we get back to our starting point effectively? So step 1 is about going, what you're scared about, starting this bit is really not as scary as you think. In fact, usually it should be really an exciting journey to be on. Step 2 is then, how do we select high potential problems to potentially build a solution for? So here is around, and we can dive into these, by the way, if you want to after, specific ways of like, how do we uncover problems? So one example would be, look at your to-do list from the last week. What have you kept pushing back for a couple of weeks? There's maybe a business there. So for me, example was doing Portuguese residency. Like, I canned it myself, but it's a huge headache. Instead, we ended up getting a lawyer eventually, right? So that's a business there. Second step is then going, okay, of all these problems, do we see potential maybe 5 or 6 of these? They're going to come in with maybe 10 to 20 problem ideas to solve. Step 3 is then something called the 5-minute business model, where essentially we go, okay, could this problem be a business? So let's say the problem is, sorry, I'm just looking at my dog as an example. He chews through all of his dog treats. How do I find good dog treats for him? So 5-minute business model, I go, okay, well, what would a dog treat business look like, for example? Like, how many units might I sell? Like, when can I make money from them? When would I get to my freedom day, which is the day where you can pay yourself from your business enough to quit your job? For example, market size, trends. So really quick, like 5 inputs to say, is there a business here or not that can be profitable? Yes or no? So let's say we've got 5 business models, or sorry, 5 to 10. We might then refine down to 3. So I usually say 3. So we've got 3 business models. We go, there's potential here. These are legit looking businesses. Stage 4 is then, how do we package that into a compelling offer? To essentially say, okay, what's that thing we're going to communicate, let's say to Matt. Matt, so you've got a dog like mine that's difficult, that I state to Matt, hey, Matt, here's what I've got for you. That we think Matt's going to come back and go, oh yeah, Henry sounds interesting. I'm happy to pay for that. Yep. Step 5 is then making a sale. And this is the bit where obviously everyone, before that, it's all exciting and you've got, the world of possibility. And then suddenly it's like,
it's the hardest part for me.
Asking for
wheels
money.
are hitting the
hardest
tarmac.
part for
Wheels are hitting the tarmac. And there, quite simply, we go, okay, let's go with an offer we think is compelling. Let's reach out to 10 people in your network to start. Directly contact them. And quite simply go, hey, Matt, I know we've talked about, you mentioned before that your dog, gets through his treats within 5 minutes. And that's a bit of a pain for you because you want to keep him busy and active. Hey, here's what I've put together. Here's the price. What do you think? Wait for response. You can do that on whatever channel you use, but do you speak together on WhatsApp? WhatsApp. If you do WhatsApp audio. If it's email. If you call them, then we've got a script for that. Right, the goal being that you get a deposit from them, 20% deposit on the call to say, green light, this is a legit business. I need now to go and deliver the solution to this person within set expectations, whatever time frame you think you need. So for me, I said, look, I want to give myself a month. I could probably do it a bit faster, but I've got 11-month-old baby, so let's make sure it's really good. And then I said, yeah, great. So Matt, give me the deposit. So we're going to start in 4 weeks' time. Right? Here's how you can book your first session with me. Mm-hmm. And it's that simple. Again, the problem is not more, particularly with product people. The problem is not like they're lacking skills, they're lacking experience, they're lacking good ideas. It is 2 key things. First is fear of getting started, right? And just basically whipping them into just pushing them off the cliff a little bit there. And then fear of rejection. So many people, for example, I had one student, Alex, he'd been building basically working on a business idea for 1.2 years, he said to me. He's never asked anyone about it. He's never tested it out. And he's a very experienced product person. He's never, got to the point where he's asked for money and said, look, are you willing to pay for this thing? And he said to me, he's made more progress. He made a sale last week within the 48-hour sprint. He said, I've made more progress in 48 hours than I did in 1.2 years.
Wow.
Right. And it's that effective by focusing on what really matters.
I think that product managers on their day job need to, there are people saying, and I've done it myself, as a product manager to go and answer support calls and stuff like that. I think they also need to go and sell their product.
100%.
And
sales is such an important skill.
Exactly. And this is actually one of those things that product managers usually don't do. I always said, I don't want to sell this thing. I'm kind of like afraid of selling, right?
I've got a story on that. So I genuinely think that one excuse held me back for about 4 years. So building up to 2020, when I started Product MBA, I remember this very clearly. I wanted to start. I felt like I was ready to start another business. I've been doing some like freelancing on to bring money in, but I thought I wanted to do something that I was more passionate about. And I remember, my thought process was, well, I need a founder. I need to find a really good co-founder. I can't sell. Sales isn't my thing. I'm not a natural salesperson. All of these excuses. And then I remember very distinctly, first week of January, again, doing my annual review. Can see it's an effective practice. 2 big realization, but literally writing down, nobody is coming for you Nobody's going to build this business for you. You have to go and do it. And this sort of, seeing your own bullshit moment. And 3 months later, I'd done from January 3 or 4 quite big iterations, and then got the idea for Product MBA, tested it out. 3 months later, that had got to generated revenue. I think a month after that was already profitable. So it's very powerful going, actually, I need to pick up the phone, right? I need to be the one that somebody books a call with me and I sell them and I get money on the call. And only when I had that realization did I sort of unlock, 5 years of just bullshit excuses, basically, of not really, testing out ideas, but not really testing them, doing a bit of writing here, but there wasn't an offer there, or building we built a startup we didn't really get to revenue with, no real progress towards what I wanted, which was the freedom of time thing, which I feel you only get with a micro business.
Yeah. And that's also one of the things I learned that differentiate from product managers from founders of companies. That founders are very comfortable selling, and they're comfortable about. And I still, until today, I'm saying that I don't like doing sales, and I need to change the way I talk. I really need.
Why do you not like sales? What do you feel is your internal narrative there?
It's exactly what you said. Fear of rejection, fear of not asking people for someone told me, if a good friend of mine told me that I have issues with money. That maybe that's how I was brought up. So who knows?
Is it the founder that has I believe so much in the product, almost the point of you can't tell me no? Is that the founder mentality? I believe so much in this, I can sell it because.
I think there's a few things. The first one is repetition. I've done 600 and probably 650 sales calls.
Then it becomes
you get pretty comfortable with it. And then also doing a startup where you're asking investors for money when I was 21, you get repetition. The second thing is you're never no, I don't think anyone loves doing. No, that's not true. I like doing sales calls, but I'd rather not. I'd rather someone just clicks the button and gives the money, right? But you have to do it. It's part of the process. I think just going that's part of the process to also learn, get better. It's like a discovery call. The third thing is, belief in product. We have this myth that sales is this sort of dirty word, right? So, we think of someone just calling us up on a weekend and trying to sell us something we don't want. If your product is good, you have a moral obligation to get that out into the world, right? You have, for example, Break Free. I had a call 2 weeks ago with a client who, she cried on the sales call. But nothing I did. But because when we started digging into okay, why do you really want to? Because some people like the idea of starting a business. Why do you really want to start a business? What came out? Things like, she's got a 1-year-old. She doesn't want to send her daughter to nursery and feel like she's outsourcing parenting. She doesn't want to go back to full-time job and not feel like a good mother. And that's the kind of moment where you go, well, first I've got a responsibility so that my product is the way that she's going to achieve that. And I believe that very strongly. So that makes you, again, that responsibility to sell. And then the second thing is also that, for me, it was the gravity of realizing this is a big thing. I have to put serious work in to get the beta ready as good as possible, because, you've had that interaction, that sales interaction where someone's giving you their hard-earned money, they're relying on you to deliver. And what does it? Makes you lift your game, really makes you lift your game and deliver an even better product. So there is that element of belief in the product as well.
No, absolutely. And that's probably, thinking about your question about me, maybe sometimes I just didn't believe that what I have is something good enough for other people.
And getting that first yes, or that first deposit probably helps a lot too. That's oh yeah, that's the aha, hey, people are actually interested in this.
And that's why, why are we focusing on getting one sale and not building up an acquisition funnel, putting content out? Because that's going to give you the momentum to go, there is something here because somebody's been willing to give me the hard-earned. People don't just give money away. It takes a lot for even a friend. It takes a lot to get them to give you
Yeah.
give you money. So it's the huge, big first step. It's the foundation that's then going to help you. Yeah. So Matt, if you're scared in your next sales call, you go, no, but I know that somebody wants this. I know that this is going to deliver value. It's the thing of, oh my God, I'm fed up of writing LinkedIn posts the last 30 days. It's going to keep you going because you know somebody wants this. And for you personally, it's you're seeing that path forward suddenly to, if I can do this with one person, why can't I do it with 100 people? If I do it with 100 people, I can quit my job, and I'm a legit entrepreneur.
Right.
Yeah, that's where that product management really can come into it, because you believe so much in it. You need to sell it, and you need to go in and tell the story and evangelize it and talk about, this is why I believe it's great, why I believe you'll benefit and get the value from this.
Very nice. Now, I have one last question from the experience that you have seen so far, and I'm sure you will see more as you grow the program. You said the target are product managers that want to maybe pivot into starting their own business. Do you see that the ideas that they come up with are product management related or not necessarily?
Yeah, I try and get them to move away from it. Either they come in with solution ideas related to latest technology, blockchain or AI, or they've become too focused on their own industry. Now, that's not a bad thing. Like it's a lot of the time it makes sense to start a business in your own industry because you've got experience, you've got context. But what I'm trying to get them to do is go detach yourself from visualizing like what the solution might be, or building a really exciting startup, right, some world changer, and just go, what problems do I see around me? Friends, partner, my own problems, anyone in my network. And then, like good product management, go, okay, now we understand the problem. Like, how might we be able to solve this in different ways? And I think the big learn, that's not new to product managers, right? So I'm not teaching them something completely new, but where it is very valuable, doing something like Break Free, is firstly the coaching, in my experience doing this with hundreds of people with Product MBA in a different format, but also getting them to understand, what does the micro business lens mean? It's a constraint. It's a constraint saying you're not going to have co-founders, you're not going to have funding. So you can either go, well, that means, I can't build a business without those things. Or it goes, okay, well, I have to just be clever and be smart. Think about, what kind of solution could I actually build? What could I deliver in 30 days rather than, 300 days, for example? And just getting them to go through that process of kind of refining from problem to business model to solution to how you're going to do your sales pitch. And you're coming out with very diverse ones. So as I said, we're doing beta program at the moment with 10 people. 4 have gone through so far. One idea is related to humanizing cold outreach. So Alex generated revenue within 48-hour sprint. Alberto's looking at helping people escape winter and do a retreat in Mexico, like a remote work retreat. So he's iterating because the time of year is not great for that right now. Cerise is looking at how to help mums with social isolation. And then finally, Lukasz is helping young grads discover the right career path for that. He's already made 100 euros on his first deposit just last week.
Yeah, what I was thinking when you're saying that is, maybe as product managers, sometimes we're looking for tangible products rather than services. And we're looking for scalable products, something that one person, you build it once, many people will be able to use it. Where micro businesses or micro projects like that are less of a product, more of a service. Maybe it could become a product more like,
exactly.
That's
a really important point. Again, product we tend to overcomplicate because that's we're trained to. We're trained to go like, what could go wrong and what's this going to look like long term. Do start doing things that don't scale. Things that don't scale is getting friends, family, network as your first sales, for example. You're not doing a huge content outreach strategy, right, with LinkedIn posts for every day of the year. You're not starting with that stuff, or you're starting with like a consulting business that could develop into a digital solution at some point. Because again, it's so important, because otherwise you can always make excuses. You can go, well, no, but for that, for me to build this SaaS product, I'm going to need funding. I need a technical co-founder, etc. You don't need to build that. You think you do, because you're scared of just getting started with building a less glamorous bricks and mortar business, for example. And again, I have this on the coaching. I'm dragging people back to remind them. And I literally visually showed, you said to me on our first call, you hate your job, you want to get out of it as soon as possible. So what do you want to do? Do you want to dream about some nice SaaS business, or do you want to just get started with a real bricks and mortar business, for example? And then they go, yeah, you're right. So it's about just detaching our egos from complexity and excitement and building $1 million start. I'm just saying, how do I get to my first 1K, 3K, 5K, whatever that number is going to be, that's going to get you to eventually be able to quit your job.
Yeah. I think another point there with the product management, like the ability to accept rejection as well. We always think about success. I can sell this. But with a product manager, you have to be able to take rejection from any point in the process and from any stakeholder. And so this comes along with this micro business as well of, hey, I'm going to get on that first call and somebody could say, no, I'm not going to pay you for that. And so don't let that defeat you. Get on the next call.
Absolutely.
And maybe that's the same way, but get on the next call. So but then iterate on your messaging and how you take the call and stuff. So I think that's an important thing to talk about.
Yeah. No, again, all the principles of product manager are great.
Yeah.
It's just taking a little bit of the excess fat and excuses that are going to really slow you down. And that's where I think, me coaching and being holding them really accountable and not letting people get away with excuses is where you take, great product manager and just get them to actually go and do the thing, go build the business or build internally build a product within the organization and just get them to do it is the big thing.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Henry. I think this becomes one of our longer episodes recently, because we really, this was fascinating. I really enjoyed that discussion. And I think one of the things I really liked also about our discussion today is that it's okay to say to product managers that, it's not necessarily for you, or if you feel that, product management is for you, don't have to, stick in it just because, right? You're pivoting and admitting yourself, you're not passionate about product management, you're passionate about building businesses, and that's where life took you and this direction that you were taking. So I'm sure you are excited to see what businesses you will help people build.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is great. I was really looking forward to this conversation because even over the past couple of years, we've seen product management become almost a bit of a hype cycle, to where you see it everywhere. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people were getting into the practice, but then there's also this disillusionment of oh wow, this is really hard work. And then as layoffs and stuff has happened over the past year, I think this is a great opportunity for people that are looking to grow a business or looking just to get out there and make that impact they're looking to do. And so I was really excited to talk today, Henry.
And I think I think my concluding point would be related to that, where if you love product management as a career and you go, I know it comes with all the meetings and the stakeholder, and I'm fine with that. That's just part of the package. Great, good for you. It's the right career path. If, like me, you're actually that's not what I really am passionate about. That's not where I really feel I can add value. Then maybe it is starting a business, or maybe it's changing career to something else as well. So I think just, be clear about what you want out of life and how you're actually going to get there.
And that's very valid for everyone.
Yep.
Amazing. Can people reach out to you? Is it the same as before, or let's just remind people, or do you have a new website?
I post on LinkedIn every day. I have been doing so for the last 5 years. So just Henry Latham on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And we've got our new website up, breakfreesprints.com. So you can go on there, check out the offer, and you can. We'll be opening up the beta program in sort of late April, early May. Sorry, opening up the public product.
Amazing.
April,
amazing. Very nice. Thank you so much, Henry, for coming on the show, and good luck.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you to all listeners, and we'll talk to everybody next time.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you to all the listeners. We really appreciate the feedback and support. Please leave us a review to help others find the show on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else you're listening to the show.